Remember, like when we were kids, we used to have the snaps, and like the ice cream man would sell them. You could buy them in the store. It goes like that. There, so I had one of these in the back of the drawer. I actually didn't realize so, but I'm curious if these things even work. So let me take one out here. So it's like this little dingling here, and still works. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the Yankees starting rotation takes a huge blow. Luis Gill will be out indefinitely with a strained lat. We'll kind of give you the backstory of that whole thing, again, with the timetable of him returning to the team. And we finally got some little clarity with Stanton's elbows. Obviously, we knew something was wrong with him. He's going to be out for a while, but he is going to get treatment. And again, really no time to able to come back yet. But again, we'll at least go over what the Yankee plan is for him. And again, Yankee spring training has been marred by a lot of injuries, including DJ LeMahieu. I'll fill you in there. And, we don't want to be too negative, but you might have heard about the good play of third base prospect George Lombard Jr. Kind of just focus on him a little bit and some of the raves and reviews he's been getting from some of the Yankee teammates as well as the manager. And finally, of course, this always happens after someone passes away. You're starting to see a little momentum finally of getting Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. We'll kind of get into that as well. So a lot of good stuff for you to cover here. So we got some current Yankees. We got a Hall of Fame Pete Rose talk there. Give you some stuff that you can chew on there. So, but before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast version of the show. So wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, look for Section 420 Talkin Yankees. Subscribe there. And of course, it's here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on TV as well, go to YouTube, search for Section 420 Talkin Yankees, and subscribe there as well. Now, some of the previous episodes here on YouTube and TV, as well as the audio podcast, discussing, of course, the dramatic Marcus Stroman, getting the whole little tiff with him that he wants to be a starting pitcher only, will not accept a bullpen job. I was kind of like, let it just rest a little bit. These things solve themselves out, most times there. Again, and I kind of pointed that someone's going to get hurt. It always happens every spring. And I kind of mentioned Luis Gill could be one of those people who just, whatever, you get a muscle tweak, a cramp, something like that. And again, these things will work themselves out. Well, unfortunately, I was kind of right on that one. And it turns out Luis Gill is going to be the one that's going to be out for a while for the Yankees. So he was having a throwing session. He felt something, on his right side. So had an MRI on him, and it looks like there's a strained lat there. So he's going to be shut down indefinitely. So like 4 to 6 weeks, no action, no throwing, no nothing at all. And of course, from there, he's almost going to have to start over again. Almost go through another spring training, go through the minors, get some rehab stuff like that. So timetable-wise, you're probably not looking at him until at least June. And again, so it's obviously bad there, but then it solves the Marcus Stroman problem because now it opens up a spot in the starting five there where you now put Stroman in there and at least not have to deal with that drama for a while now until maybe later on into the season. And actually, that's kind of the good thing for the Yankees because again, the page on Marcus Stroman, as what we saw last year with him, is that the first half of the season he's great. I mean, so we're going to get the good version of Marcus Stroman, and then mainly by the middle part of the season and later on when he seems to tire out a little bit and not as effective and has a higher ERA. Well, then from there, you can figure out, obviously you could switch him out, get rid of him, but obviously that's something you're looking at way down the line there. But at least for the start of the season, you can have Stroman in there just to quiet him down a little bit. And again, you're going to get the better version of Stroman, who's usually good in the first half of the season, and then you worry about the second half and see what happens with Luis Gill there. But again, kind of a blow for the Yankees because Luis Gill had himself a really good season in 2024. Of course, the American League Rookie of the Year, was coming back from Tommy John surgery himself, and was very impressive last spring. Again, it was that final game against the Phillies where he had the 8 strikeout performance. It really opened Boone's eyes and anointed him as the 5th starter for the Yankees there. And of course, this spring, of course, you figure in the slot him there just automatically, and the competition was going to be between Clark Schmidt and Stroman. Now, Schmidt himself obviously got off to a late start this spring as well. He finally had a throwing session where he felt better. And he's been dealing with a little bit of they call a bulky back there. And it's Stroman because he's already been pitching and playing in games already. So you would say Stroman's right now ahead of Clark Schmidt right now in the workload. But right now, if Luis Gill's out, then you don't have to worry about it again. Again, you'll have those two probably in the 4th and 5th starting spot and take it from there. And again, the Yankees starting rotation last season to start the year, even though you probably have better names right now than you did a year ago. But again, that starting rotation of last year, which included Stroman, got off to a historically really good start for the Yankees. Again, the Yankees got off to a really good start of the season. It was just ironically, without Garrett Cole, who didn't have the spring and had that nerve issue. It's funny enough that once Cole rejoined the team, that's when the Yankees kind of scuffled a little bit. And that was between the middle of June and pretty much all of July there, where again fans were going crazy and fire Boone, fire Cashman. Oh my God, the world's falling down there. But the starting rotation without Cole last season actually got off to a really good start there. So again, so now you have a better, I think Cole, obviously having him there to start the season, which you didn't have last season. I would say Max Fried is an upgrade of what you got at Nestor Cortez last season. And I think Rodon, he got himself off to a good start last season. Again, I think he'll keep being better and better there. So even without Luis Gill, which again, it's a blow, I still think the Yankees still have an opportunity to have a good starting 4 or 5 starter there to at least give him a good, strong start of the season. So, is this Luis Gill thing devastating? No, but it's just annoying because, again, as a young guy, you'd like to see him build upon what he did last year. And again, he also got off to a really good start last season as well there. And in fact, people are talking about not even the Rookie of the Year, but maybe the Cy Young Award for this. Well, he came down to reality a little bit. But again, finished in double digits wins there. And again, got the American League Rookie of the Year. So, but again, he's probably not going to be back until at least June. And then you'll worry about then, see what the Yankee rotation is then. You don't know what's down the road. Maybe Max Fried is hurt. Maybe Cole's hurt. Maybe Rodon's hurt. So it may not matter enough. But as for Stroman, at least it now keeps him quiet a little bit. You don't have to deal with the drama. You're kind of kicking the can down the road a little bit. But again, that might be an issue down later on in the season where you're going to have, maybe 6 starters for 5 spots. But again, you worry about that later on. But the Yankee arm that's out for sure is going to be Chase Hampton, unfortunately needing Tommy John surgery. Now, he's the Yankee prospect. He's ranked number 9 in the system. And the Yankees were kind of looking forward to him. You want to see be able to flourish and take some steps there because, he has been progressing well in the Yankee system. 2023 was voted their top pitching prospect. And in 2024 spent time between single and double A. Now, not that he would have a shot to crack the starting 5 or be considered for the majors there, but, he could almost take that next step, maybe and go to triple A where maybe later in the year, September, he might be a call-up, or if you have some double headers, you need to throw an arm there, he might be considered for that, but of course now that's all off the table. Again, originally there was a flexor strain, but of course he needed to go under the knife having the Tommy John surgery, so he's going to be out for sure for 2025 and probably a little bit chunk of 2026. It's kind of really hard to, the timetable on these Tommy John surgeries. It always seems like a season and a chunk of the next season there. That's usually the timetable. Now, is it the end of the world? No, because we just saw, as we mentioned, with Luis Gill, he had his Tommy John surgery 2 years ago, and he came back strong for the Yankees there. And actually, he didn't really miss as much time as we thought, so maybe that would be the case with Chase Hampton. We'll have to wait to see. Hampton only 24 years old, so maybe when he comes back and he's ready, maybe around 25, 26-ish there, so not really old there. He's still under control for the Yankees. And obviously, we've seen sports medicine a little different now than years ago. Usually sometimes almost take a season or 2 for these guys to kind of recoup and get the strength back. Now it's just like these guys hit the ground running. You got, as I mentioned before, Luis Gill, and pretty much every major starting pitcher now at some point has to go through the Tommy John surgery, almost like a rite of passage there. Most starting pitchers don't get it there, so I don't think it's the end of the world. He's a young guy there, so I think he'll recover this and still has a good Yankee career ahead of him, hopefully there. But it's just a little bit of a blow because again, you like to see the guy maybe develop and flourish in the Yankee system, but again, we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. As you're watching some of these spring training games, you might be asking, where's Jonathan Loaizaga? Now, the Yankees signed him at the start of the season, but again, he's not ready yet. He's hoping to at least be ready, come at the major league level by late May, so definitely not going to be around April, and probably going to not be around for a chunk of May there. Again, he's coming back from surgery. Well, that was the UCL surgery on the tear on his elbow there. And I thought it kind of was going to be the end of his Yankee career, but look at the Yankees just wanted to bring him back. It's only a 1-year deal, so yes, he's back there, but you haven't seen him yet. But again, his timetable is a little later than some of the other relievers. But again, once he's back and if he's strong and if he can do what he do, that's just going to add strength to the Yankee bullpen, which is going to be revamped, again, be much better than it was at the start of last season. I guess we might as well get all the injured pitchers out of the way. And I guess another possible prospect for the Yankees would be JT Brubaker. And in case you didn't see it, took a comebacker up the middle line drive, went off his side of his body, where at the time you didn't think it was really a big deal. And it was actually almost a week ago, and it was kind of like didn't even worth mentioning because you see a lot in baseball. But actually, once they examine it again, it looks like he has 3 fractured ribs. So he's going to be out for a deal of time. Really don't have no exact timetable when that would be. But yeah, he was someone, if you may recall, Cashman picked up from the Pittsburgh Pirates, one of his bargain basement there. How they try to, similar with how they kind of picked up Clay Holmes out of nowhere and kind of developed him. So he was going to kind of be a project of that ilk. Probably looking at him as a starter, but it goes, that's going to be, obviously that timetable is now pushed back until he recovers from these fractured ribs. It looks like we at least have a little movement clarity on Stanton's elbows, which kind of had this mystery soreness there, kind of they called tennis elbows. And he says it was an injury he was dealing with last season, but it seemed like it didn't get taken care of during the offseason and came to spring training where he couldn't even swing a bat still. And of course, he had that weird departure from the team. He went back to New York for, quote unquote, a personal issue. But we don't really know what that personal issue was. Was it related to the injury? Was it related to something else? And again, there was like a week and a half. There's a lot of mystery there. Maybe some rumors kicking around. Even heard some rumors that maybe he was contemplating retirement of baseball. Now, I didn't think that was possible because, first of all, he's going to be on the contract till 2027. So if he retires, I mean, he's not going to give up 3 more years of getting millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars there. Yeah, sure. Does he have enough money for 10 generations? Yeah, of course. But he's also not going to give up the remaining 3 years left in the contract. So he's going to, even if he has to swing at one hand, he's definitely not going to retire there. So I didn't think the retirement thing was, even possible there. But it looks like he's going to get treatment there. They call it PRP, so it's a platelet-rich plasma. Some athletes been doing this. I think Jose Reyes, when he was at the Mets, he was always having hamstring issues, and they kind of spin the blood with that, and they inject it into you. Of course, this gets borderlines with stuff with PEDs. So I'm sure after Stanton gets the treatment, I'm sure they're going to give him a test. Major League Baseball is probably going to test him, just make sure they put a secret sauce in there in the plasma before shooting him in there. So, and I'm sure a lot of stuff went around before the Mitchell report came out there. So, but nevertheless, that's the treatment. The idea is to shoot at both elbows, and then hopefully what it does is basically it injures tissue, repair, stuff like that. Even if you're follically challenged, you could shoot it in your head to get hair there. So if you want to, good luck on that one. But nevertheless, it's supposed to repair tissue damage. Again, with a whole tennis elbow thing is like you have these little tears and little ligaments in the elbow where you don't really need surgery. I mean, it kind of could grow back normally, but this treatment kind of makes the thing go faster there. Now, of course, as you expected, he's going to start the season on the IL. And we kind of knew that was going to be the case. Even very early on in the spring, Boone put it out there. He's probably going to have to start the season on the IL. So he's going to be out for a while. You don't know exactly when he'll be back, so there's really no timetable. And again, he's not even swinging a bat yet, so he's a long ways away. Now, the good news is he's supposed to come back and rejoin the team in Tampa there, so I'm sure they'll have some drills and at least stuff to him to just work out, maybe throw him on the treadmill or something like that there. And I hear a lot of fans saying that it's not really a big deal. It's kind of just keep him on ice and just save him for the postseason, which, obviously he was fabulous last postseason. And overall, when he's in there, what he does for the Yankees production-wise in the postseason games is always very good. So he's always good in the postseason for the Yankees. He's just got to stay healthy. And so I'm like, put him on bubble wrap for the whole season and then break him out, de-Thor him for the postseason there. So, and again, the Yankees didn't have him for a chunk of last season as well there during the regular season. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, and I think the Yankees have a little bit more firepower this season than they did last season, even though minus Soto. I think just the addition of someone like Paul Goldschmidt helps. The addition of Jason Dominguez, who we did not have at the start of last season, that helps as well. And again, I know Bellinger is not Soto, but also Bellinger's no shrub himself. I mean, has the capability in Yankee Stadium playing for the Yankees and in that lineup to hit 30, 35 home runs himself there. So I think, the Yankees have enough firepower even without Stanton. You just like to see him in there as well, just to make that lineup, more dangerous and deeper. But still, it's not the end of the day with Stanton. And just again, whenever he comes back, We'll just have to wait and see. But again, most importantly, and I kind of feel like that's what they're doing. They're almost treating Stanton how the NBA treats a lot of their star players, kind of baby them during the regular season, and then once it's the postseason, they're on. That's why you have these, scheduled days off and scheduled rest. And they kind of been doing that with Stanton already. I mean, obviously, he's never going to play the outfield again, so those days are gone. And they literally tell him, don't worry, just walk to first base. Don't, jog lightly. Don't strain yourself. Don't pull anything. So the Yankees have been babying him for the past year or so. So this might be a little bit more of that as well, like where, they're going to baby him probably all the whole way and just hope, you get that red-hot Stanton for the postseason. Now, another injured Yankee who, fans aren't exactly in a rush to see back. In fact, they'd probably like to see him jettison, but of course that would be DJ LeMahieu. Obviously spring, fighting for a third base job there, and then past fourth season for the Yankees had not been good at all. A lot of underperformance, a lot of injuries. Well, unfortunately, another one here in this spring, and that'll be a calf injury. So happened in the game, he had to pop up to second base, and as he was running to first, he felt a little pop, a little tweak in his calf there. Had to be taken out of the game there. Right now, it doesn't look like any sort of major damage, but right now, even Boone doesn't have a timetable for him, so he's going to be out for a while, a little bit. He'll probably be available at least for the start of the season, unless there's some compound thing afterwards there. But again, this is going to be a tough season for DJ LeMahieu. I think really, he's actually been immune so far to the Yankee Stadium fans booing him. I think because the first two seasons he had were just so tremendous, it's kind of given him a little bit of immunity of getting booed from his bad performances over the past couple of seasons, though. But I feel this is the season that fans might finally start to turn on him. And again, we see this treatment that sometimes Stanton gets when he's in a bad funk and he's striking out 4 times per game. We saw what happened in the past with Donaldson. We saw what happened in the past with Joey Gallo. We saw what happened in the past with Aaron Hicks. Well, so far DJ's been able to stay away from those kind of boo birds, but I feel this season, again, if he has another bad start, if it's another underwhelming season for him and dealing with injuries and stuff like that, he might start finally hearing the boo birds. So, those two amazing seasons he had a couple of seasons ago that, kind of sort of fading out a little bit. So hopefully DJ can get back there a little bit of shape and have himself a little bit better of a season for him. Again, he's under contract for both this season and next season. Yeah, so it's almost similar to the same boat the Yankees were with Aaron Hicks when they finally had to cut him loose. Even though there was another year and so on left on his contract, it just got so bad to the point where he couldn't even move anymore. He couldn't even walk anymore. It's basically an automatic ground out. And the Yankees had to cut him. Now he did, to his credit, go to the Baltimore Orioles and kind of resurrect himself a little bit. All good for him there. DJ LeMahieu, unfortunately, he's going to need something similar there. Otherwise, the Yankees may have to consider cutting him as well there, because again, it gets to a point where he's just an automatic out. I mean, he's not even driving the ball anymore. Doesn't even have any sort of power there. So you can't have someone at third base, like that. You need someone a little bit more pop. Now, to his, I guess what benefits him that the Yankees don't really have a steady Eddie there at third base. Again, it's a bit of a competition, but with Peraza and Cabrera and himself there. So, luckily none of them are really a de facto third baseman there. So he does have a shot to earn the job there. We'll see what happens. And of course, the money he's making, the fact that he does have a resume and he's a veteran. I think Boone will probably tilt towards his way there, but we'll see what this injury situation is. It doesn't sound like there's anything that's going to take him out further, but you'd like to have him a good spring and then go into the regular season, with a good positive frame here. But unfortunately, right now, it's just more negativity for DJ. And a more positive note, and kind of, ironically, you're probably hearing the rant and ravings of George Lombard Jr. Not only because we crushed a couple of balls in spring training already in some games, but he's a third baseman. So you're thinking, well, the Yankees really don't have a de facto third baseman. Should he be in the mix? Well, he's probably not at that level yet, but you can understand what he's been doing this spring there, why everyone's kind of fans and everyone seems excited about him. Judge has been looking at him. He's been impressive, not only with the hitting, but also his fielding, saying just the throws he's making from third to second base there on some of the double play transfers. He's been hitting them, they say, right in the chest. Again, mainly getting these good, strong throws to second base there. So he seems to have the arm. And again, this spring has the bat there. So you say, would you throw him in the mix there now? Probably not, just because you have so many other guys ahead of him, and I don't think they would want to throw him right into the fire like that. He is 19 years old. I mean, he's the Yankees' youngest player in camp right now. Again, it's good to see him do this there, but I don't think he'll be considered yet, for the Major League club. But I'm sure a lot of fans would rather see Lombard Jr. than DJ, for example, there, and probably George Lombard Jr. will probably have a better season than DJ would if they're both up in the majors there. But nevertheless, with everything else and the other players and the money he's making, that's not going to happen there. So I kind of wanted to dispel that a little bit. But we'll look at his numbers there because, again, he has been hitting well this spring. So at this point right now, he's hitting .333. He's got 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 home runs, and 2 balls he crushed there, 4 RBIs, and an OPS, so on base plus slugging of 1.145. So if you're even over the 1, those like Judgian type numbers there. So been very good this spring there. So you say, well, why wouldn't you consider bringing him up there? Well, you got to temper your enthusiasm a little bit. Now, look what he did last season, 2024, in the minors there. If I was reading his numbers there, only hit .231, 5 home runs the whole season. So he's got 2 this spring right now, but he only had 5 home runs the whole last season there. OPS much smaller, .672 there, so well under 1. That's the last season. So, so you saw a full body of work of what he did last season there. Those are not major league type numbers there where if you're only hitting .231, you say, wow, bring this guy up to the major league. So he's having a good spring so far. So I would say calm down a little bit though, but it is good to see this season option there. He's only 19 years old, so he's going to be around for a while. So maybe at some point he'll be a Yankee third baseman. And I know you'd like to throw him into the mix because right now the Yankees technically don't really have a third baseman. So hey, look, put him out there. If the kid's hot and he can earn the job, why not? Yeah, I can understand that argument there, but I just don't think the Yankees are going to do it just because, again, they have Peraza ahead of him, Cabrera ahead of him, DJ ahead of him, other players making more money, stuff like that, and I just don't think they're going to throw a 19-year-old kid out there. Would you like to see it? Yeah, maybe, but I just don't think he has a shot to crack the majors this season. He's having a good spring. Kind of leave it at that. And we've seen this in the past. Remember a couple seasons ago when Higgy, as a backup catcher, was hitting home runs, had like 5 home runs in spring training. I was like, whoa, this is going to be a breakout season. Once the regular season occurred, he was the usual Higgy of just good defense and kind of meh offensively. Kind of same situation there. So just because someone has a good spring to trade doesn't mean it's going to translate to them having a great regular season. And you remember Greg Bird, the off-injured Yankee prospect, those one spring he had like 6 home runs, and then the season, he got injured and stuff like that and whatever. So hitting home runs in spring training, it's nice, it's flashing. You're so hungry for baseball, and you're so hungry to see a prospect do well there. But you got to kind of temper your enthusiasm a little bit. So I don't think you'll see Lombard Jr. up at the majors this season at all there. But good to know he's there. Let's see where his career goes. And if you want to look at some other Yankees also hitting the ball well in spring training, of course, we look at Spencer Jones, also rocking it, hitting .429 up to this point. So even doing better than Lombard Jr. 6 hits, 2 home runs of his own, 6 RBIs, and also a Judgian type type OPS of 1.500 there. So even Spencer Jones putting some judgy numbers, but same thing. Will he be up here in the majors at some point? I just don't see it because, again, the Yankee outfield right now is really crowded. He could be possibly, again, in a pinch, yeah, but again, the Yankees are pretty much stacked in the outfield there, so unless the Yankees have a big rash of injuries and so like Dominguez goes down and Judge goes down, and obviously if that happens, the season's done anyway, so it's not worth it at the point. That's when you maybe see Spencer Jones, but you probably don't see Spencer Jones this season, maybe a season from now, and we'll kind of see what happens with Bellinger, if the Yankees pick up his option or not, or if he walks out the door, then that would open the door for Spencer Jones to play the outfield. And a little bit of an older player opening some eyes, and that would be, of course, Dom Smith, who, Cashman kind of picked up from the scrap heap a little bit. Again, the former Met prospect, bounced around a little bit more recently with the Red Sox before being cut by them. Well, he's been a little bit eye-opening spring training. Again, don't go crazy with spring training numbers there, but right now hitting .286 and with 7 RBIs there and 2 home runs. So, that'd be an option for the Yankees at first base. And right now you would say whoever loses, maybe like DJ, something like that, if he loses the third base job, he would be the backup first baseman to Paul Goldschmidt possibly. You also have Ben Rice floating around there. But, of course, now Dom Smith throwing his name in his hat. And, again, as a left-handed power hitter a little bit, he could do some damage at Yankee Stadium there. So let's see where it goes there. But, again, he could be an option for a backup first baseman. And so far at this point in spring training, we've already uncovered a lot of firsts, and that, of course, would be the first game for Aaron Judge to play. And again, they didn't throw him in there right away. Kind of because saying, like, look, he's a veteran, he's getting a little older now, so they don't want to start him up too early in spring there and kind of let him kind of ease him in there, which kind of makes sense. Now as he would say he's a veteran like there, even though we always think of him as a kid. But so they kind of delayed his start. Also, we finally got an appearance from Devin Williams and the Airbender, so they debuted this spring there. But probably more importantly, you're looking at the $218 million pitching arm of Max Fried, making his first start, and was pretty good there, good effective. Actually even touched 97 on the gun there, so kind of wound players right away. And of course, you probably saw the images between innings, him and Roger Clemens standing by side and kind of picking his brain a little bit. And you can mention that A-Rod and Clemens are in camp there, which I think is a good thing for the Yankees there. The Yankees are good, bring back old timers there, and some of us fans my age don't think of them as old timers, but yeah, it was almost like 20 years ago, so good to see Max Fried there get that first start off the schneid there. No injuries reported with them, and those are some really key pieces there. So, a lot of good first there. And we also got the first spring training home run of Jason Dominguez. Didn't get off to a great start. The Yankees kind of threw him in the fire right away there. So, but he has been getting his swing down. He has been heating up a little bit. So, hopefully, to get a couple more home runs from him. And now he just has to work on the left field job of catching the ball. And one thing you might have noticed this spring is the ABS challenge system. Again, this is where players can challenge balls and strikes there. This kind of piggybacks off of the replay, which now has been introduced with baseball for a couple seasons, which has some bumps and ups and downs and peaks and valleys, but at least it seems like it's got smoothed out a little bit. This ABS system obviously is much quicker, and just give you a quick recap on it. Again, each team gets to challenge 2 calls per game. These are balls and strikes there, and how many times we've seen some like bad calls by like Angel Hernandez like that, and just throw want to pull your hair out there. So this is supposed to combat that. Now, when asked about Aaron Boone, you would think maybe as the manager he would like that, and of course we always see Boone come out arguing balls and strikes. I mean, he leads all like major league managers getting thrown out of games lately there, so you would think maybe he would want this system, but he actually said he's not a fan of it. He doesn't like it. Not that he hates it, but he could say baseball could do it without it, mainly because as he described it, it kind of ruins the art of framing pitchers. And the Yankees, this is all about their philosophy. They're not about throwing the fastball. It's all about them. It's about breaking balls, sliders, balls in the dirt, swing and miss stuff, which, that's kind of seemed like the Yankee philosophy and Brian Cashman's philosophy. See them bring a lot of pitches to do that there, and for some pitches it works, some it doesn't. Infamously, remember when they brought Sonny Gray in here? He did not like that. He just liked maybe attacking the zone more, not throwing so much junk in the dirt. The Yankees are more about throwing junk in the dirt and getting swings and misses there, or trying to steal strikes with some good framing by people like Wells or Trevino, because now Trevino now gone, but Trevino is known to be good at that there. So Boone exactly the biggest fan of it. And Mo Boone said he kind of liked the drama of it, or seeing the replay on the Jumbotron and see did they get the call right or not, and maybe that sort of drama. But he also suggested that maybe if you're going to use it on the major league level, it should be something maybe for the 7th inning after, when the balls and strikes are a little bit more crucial in big spots with men on base and big dramatic things there with the closer there. Then he said that's a better spot for it. Now, if you're someone who doesn't like it, well, you don't have to worry about it for a while. It's not going to be in Major League Baseball for this season at all. Now, a season or 2 from now, can that change? Possibly, but for at least for 2025, it's not going to have. This is something they're experimenting with now. They have been experimenting in past seasons with the minors there, so it's not a new thing. But now it's the first time we kind of see it, at least with the majors, though. But this is only for spring training. It won't be in the regular season. I guess we'll switch to a little Pete Rose Hall of Fame talk, and you might hear the rumblings that Commissioner Rob Manfred might now consider putting Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame, obviously after he passed away, which we all knew was going to happen. And interestingly enough, it looks like, Pete Rose thought the same thing. Now, supposedly, shortly before he passed away on September 20th, he did sit down with broadcaster John Condit from Ohio, and obviously, Rose played many years in Cincinnati as a Red there. And Rose said himself that if he gets into the Hall of Fame, he probably will after he passes away. 10 days later, he passed away there. So Rose kind of predicted this would probably happen. And you all figured this was going to happen, which never makes sense to me. It's like the whole idea of the Hall of Fame. Now, yeah, you recognize the player, but of course the teammates get involved, or, family and friends enjoy it. It's supposed to be for everybody, not just the player itself. So yeah, even you put the person in afterwards, but no one can really enjoy it because now the person passed away. So I never understand why they do that. They do it in baseball and football as well. I mean, if someone's alive, celebrate them while they're alive. Why wait for them to pass away? So the whole thing's kind of ridiculous, but it looks like there's at least a little momentum going for this there. Now, started off with the president putting out a social media statement that baseball needs to really recognize him, put him in there, get off their lazy curse word we don't want to repeat here. But nevertheless, that kind of started the conversation a little bit, and then you see this petition going around mainly from Rose's daughter, trying to push right now to petition to get Pete Rose, her father, into the Hall of Fame. It looks like Rob Manfred at least a little receptive to it now, taking him off, if he would take him off, they call the ineligible list. Now, Rose was put on the ineligible list back in 1989 when the original allegations coming out that he was involved with gambling. Now, in Rose's book from 2004, he said, yes, he did gamble on baseball, but it was only when he was a manager and for his team to win. Now, later there were reports from ESPN that he would gamble while he was a player as well, but that was not verified there. But Rose did admit, yes, he did gamble when he was a manager, but he would only do it for his team to win, not sort of like, pull a good player out so his team loses on purpose and kind of do it that way. Now, would that happen or not? We can never really know like that, and the whole thing's ridiculous. But my only case for him is that fine, if those shenanigans were going on, then forget about him as a manager. Just take that off the table. Just look at him as a player. That's it, where there's no allegations or anything. Again, I know ESPN said they had some reports that he did as a player, but without any concrete proof, just you don't really have any data. So just look at his body's work as a player. Again, the most hits, he suppressed Ty Cobb there, a long career, a couple of championships there. So look, you want to put him in as a player, put him as a player, forget about his manager. And it's kind of like vice versa with Joe Torre. Joe Torre is not in the Hall of Fame because what he did as a player. You put him in as a manager. So you can almost take one person's part of their career and just almost put it in the trash can. And if you want to look at the other part, with Joe's Torre case, that's being a manager with the Yankees, all the championships and all the winning he did there, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, not for what he did as a player. So you could do the opposite for Pete Rose. Take his manager body work and just toss that out the window and look at him as a player. And of course, no doubt about it, first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer there. So we'll see where this goes. He'll probably get in, just the fact that he passed away there and this, for all that. But again, it's just kind of doesn't make sense because, why let him do it while he's alive there. But unfortunately, he'll never be able to see it there. But maybe it gives if it makes his fans and makes his family happy, okay there. But really shouldn't be the case. Kind of ridiculous. Again, no allegations actually bet against his team and sort of pull players to throw games there. So when you want to believe that or not, who knows? But again, my whole argument is take whatever he did as a manager, throw that out the window, and just put him in it as a player. So that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. So it looks like at least for the foreseeable future, both Giancarlo Stanton and Luis Gill are going to be out for a while, probably at least June at best with their injuries. But again, none of them look like to be season-ending injuries, at least with Stanton to this point there. So hopefully they're back soon enough. And again, it gives the Yankees an opportunity to throw out the fire there with Marcus Stroman. At least guarantees him a starter spot to start the season, quiets him down, and later, hopefully that's just something Yankees could deal with later on. Now, you got some work to do. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, look for Section 420 Talkin Yankees podcast. Subscribe, get updates, cool stuff you can't see here. And if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on TV, go to YouTube, search for Section 420 Talkin Yankees, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.